Let's talk this 2025 brand new Kawasaki Z500 SE ABS, which is Kawasaki's entry-level motorcycle into the sport naked bikes, and we're gonna go on a speed date with it today. We're gonna go wheel to wheel and everything in between, and see for about $6,200 what you are expecting to get from Kawasaki, and then we're gonna get on it, go out there, ride this motorcycle, and then I'm gonna quantify my thoughts and give this bike the Emmy score. Let's start off by talking about what's powering this motorcycle. The primary reason why essentially this is a beginner-friendly motorcycle is the power output of this engine. You have a 451cc liquid-cooled twin-cylinder parallel twin engine here that makes about 32 foot-pounds of torque and about 51 horsepower, combined with its relatively light weight of 372 pounds. You get a pretty good power to weight ratio here. We'll see on our right how fast this motorcycle gets up to speed. I don't think it has any problem getting up to the freeway speed. After all, it's a second revision here. You had a Z300, which people were pretty satisfied with. Kawasaki went to a Z400, made people even happier, and now you have a Z500, which, you know, should have absolutely no problem performance-wise. The cc's on this engine has continuously grown over the years, and it's connected to a very simple 6-speed transmission. No quick shifter, no electronics really involved here. A very simple transmission, a very simple engine, and this is how this motorcycle sounds. Now let's talk about the design of this motorcycle. I'm not really a big fan of how the Z lineup generally looks, from the cheapest to the most expensive models in this lineup. Kawasaki has this whole design concept called Tsugomi that they implement on their motorcycles. Tsugomi is defined as transferring the aura and the energy of predatory, angry looking animals, the viciousness of those animals to these motorcycles. That's where you get all these jagged, harsh corners and lines and these angry looking headlights on this motorcycle. That's where it comes from, Tsugomi. And speaking of the headlights, you don't get 1 or 2 or 4 headlights or any of that. You get 3. You get 3, an odd number of headlights here. And the reason is that the pair up here is your day running light, and the one in the center down here is your high beam. Looks pretty interesting up front. And as far as the paint goes on this motorcycle, you have 3 tones. It's a tricolor motorcycle, which is cool. I mean, this motorcycle only costs $6,200 and they used 3 different colors on this bike. That's pretty impressive. The red one here is the candy persimmon red, and then you have this matte black and the graphene steel gray. The matte black and the graphene steel gray, which are both matte, have a layer of clear coat embedded with sparkles, with little metal shavings in them, which creates this really cool design of a matte paint, but it shines in a very interesting way when you park it under the sun. It's a pretty cool color. I like that, what they've done to the paint of this motorcycle. And as far as the differences that this motorcycle has between it and the non-SE version, you first get this shiny windscreen up here on the SE version. On the base model, you don't get this piece here. And you also get this radiator cover that's up here, which looks pretty cool and prevents large objects, larger than the holes that are pretty massive on this cover, from hitting your radiator. You also get LED turn signals. Both front and rear turn signals are LED on this motorcycle, whereas they are halogen bulbs on the non-SE version. You also get frame sliders that come from factory with this motorcycle, and you also get gas tank pads for better grip and slight protection from like the zipper of your jacket so it doesn't scratch the matte paint, which shows pretty well on matte paint. And you also get the second cover for the pillion seat, for the passenger seat on this motorcycle, so you can swap it out when you're not carrying a second person on this motorcycle. You can have it look a little sleeker and sportier with that plastic cover instead of the seat back there. So those are the differences between the SE and the non-SE and the overall looks of this motorcycle. As far as electronic and rider aids and creature comfort features go on this motorcycle, you pretty much don't get anything other than the absolute bare minimum. And I'm okay with that, because This motorcycle gives you ABS, which I think is really the only safety net that's gonna save your butt when you're going down. ABS is gonna prevent that, and you don't really need anything else other than that. In fact, loading this motorcycle up with a lot of electronics is gonna make people complain. Instead of giving you a complex electronic bundle here that drives up the cost of this motorcycle and can break on you, they gave you a clever little USB-C in this corner. You have to know it's there, otherwise you're not going to be able to find it. It's really well hidden, and you can plug in your phone to that USB-C so you don't run out of battery, and you can put your phone up there and case closed. You don't need any other electronics here provided to you. So kudos to Kawasaki for keeping it very simple, keeping it cheap, and having a universal solution installed on this motorcycle. Good job. And as far as the ergonomics on this motorcycle go, it's a beginner-friendly motorcycle, so it has to be comfortable. It has to accommodate people of all heights. And it does, because the seat height is only 30.9 inches. It's shorter than the CB500F from Honda, and it's very little taller than the MT-03, a much smaller motorcycle than this. As far as storage goes, on this motorcycle, you get a pretty decent amount under the passenger seat, and to remove it, similar to many other motorcycles, you grab the key, you place it under the seat, you twist, and you unlock this passenger seat. When you remove it, you realize there are two interesting things to note. One is you got the helmet hook, which is great. I love motorcycles that provide that to you, so you can put the clasp of your helmet in here, and then you can shut the seat back on it, and essentially you lock the helmet to the motorcycle. Now, of course, there is always a way to steal that. They can just cut the strap and take the helmet with them, but you know, it's better than nothing is the whole concept here. Also, you see this little cable that you can pull, and when you pull that, this is a pretty good innovation from Kawasaki. I haven't really seen it executed this well on any other motorcycle brand, but this is a way of removing the front seat. Instead of using a toolbox and unbolting screws or bolts here, you can simply pull this tab, this little wire, and you easily pull the seat off. And here's your battery, and here's your toolbox. This is what you get under the passenger and the driver's seat, the rider's seat of the Z500. And with all of that out of the way, I think you and I are ready to take this motorcycle out on the road and give it a try. But before we do that, a huge shout out to Bellevue Motorsports for allowing us this opportunity to grab this motorcycle off of the showroom floor and to take it out on the road and test it. Huge shout out to them. I will leave a link to their website and to this motorcycle in the description section of this video. Go check it out, Bellevue Motorsports. And with all of that, let's go and ride this bike. All right, let's go ride this motorcycle. Love the TFT screen. 1 mile on the odometer. Okay, let's go. There's only 1 mile on the odometer. This motorcycle hasn't really been ridden before, so let's take it slowly. I don't want to hurt the engine or break it in, not in the best way possible, and that wouldn't be fair to the next owner of this motorcycle. Okay, let's enjoy this ride. Yeah, it's super comfortable, obviously. Upright as it gets. You can see on that Insta360 how I'm sitting on this motorcycle. Very comfortable, very nimble, very throw-aroundable. I gotta take it easy on these tires too. I mean, it's right out of the box. This motorcycle was in the crate just about 2 hours ago, so let's take it easy. Fresh engine, fresh tire, fresh brakes, fresh everything. And let's break it in nicely for the next owner. So, not much to test here, not much to try. The brakes, a little spongy. Expected. It's a Nissin brake. It's not like Kawasaki's top of the line brake. They usually put Brembos on the more premium Kawasaki. Some Yamaha and Honda do that too. On the really expensive motorcycle, it's always a Brembo. Okay, well, I guess we'll go. You know, this is a very budget-oriented entry-level motorcycle, as we've discussed. Not a lot of options on it. There's no cruise control, no grip warmer, nothing on it really. And the people who buy this motorcycle don't really want those things anyways. Remember that with all those electronics, you're compounding the weight of the motorcycle, because not only do you have to add hardware to accommodate that, but you also have to, you know, add more wiring harness, a bigger battery, a stronger brain loaded on this computer. Everything just makes the physical dimensions of the electronic components of this motorcycle bigger. And you just, you know, increase the weight for no reason. In fact, as we just discussed during the video, this motorcycle being a 451cc motorcycle, it in fact is lighter than MT-03 from Yamaha. That motorcycle is, you know, far weaker than this bike. That's not middle to entry level, that is entry level, the MT-03, and that bike is heavier than this motorcycle, even though, you know, displacement is way lower. This deflector works great. I don't really feel a lot of wind hitting my face. I mean, I am still moving through a medium of air around me. I hear it, but it's not hitting me in the face. It's not making me have to work my neck too hard to keep it upright. Shows you everything you need to see on the TFT screen. There's your engine. Who was honking? Not at us, probably. There's your RPM. There's your fuel level. Your miles per gallon, gas mileage, clock. You know, all the essentials are there. It's really comfortable. I can easily flat foot it. That's no problem. Even if you're 5'5", maybe 4 even, 5'5", you will be able to flat foot this motorcycle. No problem. Now, in my previous videos, I have mentioned that the best entry-level motorcycle is going to be a Ninja 650, and a lot of people were like, oh my god, 650 cc's, that's insane, that's not entry-level, that's definitely, you're going to have so many years of experience before you can ride that kind of motorcycle. Now, true. First of all, determining what motorcycle is entry-level, what motorcycle is not really a, you know, computational matter. You can't just sit down and put some numbers in and say, okay, this is not an entry-level motorcycle, this is an entry-level motorcycle. Somebody who does not have the you know, cognitive stability to control themselves and their actions on a motorcycle are going to get in trouble no matter on what kind of motorcycle they're on, and vice versa. If you know your limits and you know how to ride well, you can handle motorcycles with higher displacements, combined with the fact that displacement doesn't necessarily mean how dangerous a motorcycle is. I mean, most Harleys are over 1,000 cc's. By definition, some of them are liter bikes because they fit a liter of air in their cylinders. But are they extremely advanced, complex, hard to ride motorcycles? No, not really. Most of them can't even crack 80 miles an hour. So do I still say that the best beginner motorcycle is a Ninja 650? Yes, I would say that, because this motorcycle, although is more forgiving, it's a little too weak for my taste. If you're in a small town and you absolutely hate electric motorcycles, you want to get an internal combustion engine bike, this is gonna be a good one. You know, it's essentially performs like an electric bike. It's, you know, it goes as far as electric bikes go. About the power is about what you're getting out of electric motorcycles these days. It's equivalent to that. For small distances, small cities, congested urban areas, this is a great bike because it's lighter, it's nimble, it's throw aroundable, and it's you know, gas mileage is really good. I think it gets about 65 miles per gallon when you're cruising around. It's fantastic. So you don't need more cc's, but if you want a more versatile motorcycle that is good for inner cities and longer commutes, I would highly encourage you to go 1 cc displacement higher and get the, you know, the higher Z lineup or the Ninja 650 motorcycles with a little bit more juice. You'd probably be better off. I mean, leave your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think? Is this plenty of power for you? Or do you find it that after a couple of years you feel the need to have to upgrade? Because this is kind of getting boring. Let me know. And now onto the Emmy Score for the 2025 Kawasaki Z500 SE ABS. In the commuter category, you get very little electronic features. Simplicity is the goal here. You get ABS, a nice little TFT screen, all LED lights, and a USB-C to connect your phone so you can use Google Maps and play music from your phone. As for pricing, this bike sits at $6,200 US, which nowadays is considered relatively budget friendly. Speaking of reliability and parts and labor availability, it's made by Kawasaki, which means reliability and plenty of dealership and parts support. The Z500 SE gets a 13 out of 20. Now onto the performance/dope factor category, which I'm not expecting much from this bike. The Z500 is equipped with nothing performance oriented. It weighs very little though, at 372 pounds. It's got a tamed power delivery, with only about 45 horsepower at the rear wheel and about 32 foot-pounds of torque. As for the design choices on Marketplace, the Z500 comes in 2 different trims and each trim gets a single color option. I wish Kawasaki would offer more color variations, but getting 3 different colors on the same motorcycle isn't too bad either. I wouldn't call this necessarily an attractive bike, but the fit and finish is pretty high quality. When it comes to the brand name, Kawasaki doesn't necessarily convey opulence, especially on these lower end models. It gets a 9 out of 20 for the overall performance and dope factor category, and it sits here on the list of other sport naked bikes I have reviewed. A cheap, reliable, relatively attractive motorcycle with minimal electronics, making the Z500 SE a great everyday ride for less experienced riders. I definitely recommended the SE version. It comes preloaded with all the mods you'd want using Kawasaki OEM parts. But if you've got some riding experience, I'd suggest skipping this and going straight for the Z650. Thanks for watching.